Okay, I'm a massive fan of fuzz pedals. I would say generally I pick a fuzz pedal over an overdrive pedal, but I know that's not generally what most people do. And over the years, I've often had people contact me saying, I can't get fuzz to sound great at low volume, or I just don't use fuzz because I can only play at low volume. And today I put a video up on Instagram and on Shorts here. It's my latest short. It was just showing overdrive versus fuzz. And there was a comment on Instagram basically saying, I prefer the overdrive, and at home I can't play loud, so I don't really play fuzz. And I just thought, I want to hear that myself. I never play fuzz quietly, so I honestly can't answer that question. But it might surprise you to hear what the volumes in those clips were that you just heard. So let's hear them again, but I'll have a decibel meter on the screen. Yeah, so to be honest with you, there's a bit of a tell there that it was low volume because you could hear my plectrum through the room mic, but I was actually quite incredulous as to how that sounded, not just through the recording, but in the room. Yeah, it wasn't super loud, obviously, as you can hear, but considering I normally play at more like 100 to 105 decibels, I just couldn't believe what both pedals really could do with that amp. I mean, props to the Friedman Plex, to be honest, that's unbelievable. It's an incredibly loud amp. Normally I don't put the master above about a quarter, but putting it this low and being able to play dynamically through a 50-watt Plex, that's an incredible master volume that Friedman have come up with, and that's why I've been able to do this video, right? So what I want to do is, let's hear the fuzz and an overdrive at low volumes in a couple of different scenarios. We're going to be playing just with this guitar, the Ben Wasser Guitar Works. This is his Shaft model, and which I got recently secondhand. And it's got some bare 58 SB PAF pickups in, if you're interested in that. So look, first let's just hear the amp to see what was coming through there. So not the most attractive sound out of this amp at that volume, to be honest with you. It's a little bit brittle, but it's pretty good. Now we're going to whack in the Isle of Tone Haze 67, one of my favourite fuzz pedals that I use a lot. So the level and the fuzz are both set below half, and really the amount of dynamics that I got there, I couldn't believe it myself. Not that I got them, that the pedal was still able to feel exactly like a fuzz pedal, to be that dynamic, to sound fantastic, to not be buzzy at all. Now I know I'm using humbuckers. A lot of people might think of fuzz as more of a Strat or single coil thing, but I just find using humbuckers and fuzz together is fantastic. You get like a real thickness, and it's great. So to me, that wouldn't put me off playing fuzz if I could only play low volume in this particular situation. But maybe investing a lot of money in expensive fuzz pedals would be something you'd be hesitant to do, especially if you have overdrive pedals that you love, because I don't often play overdrive at these sort of volumes. So let's hear that as well. Now, forgetting the sort of Jan Ray hate that is somewhat popular online, I thought that did a great job actually. If anything, throughout this video, I slightly prefer the overdrive sound because thinking about how most people want, and I don't go after the tones that most people do. I'm happy with a bit of flubby low end. I'm not playing in a band. This is about me enjoying that. But in a sort of mix and in that context of being in a band, something like the Jan Ray there, which has a lot more focus to it and less low end, would probably work well for what most people want to do. But would you be playing this quietly? No, I doubt it. But anyway, that's by the by. So with a fuzz, I often use a delay and a UniVibe. So I thought, again, I want to hear it. I want to hear what is the issue people have with low volume fuzz, because I'm just, so far, I mean, I've recorded all of this already, just, I don't quite get it, right? It still cleans up. This is a germanium fuzz. It still gets that gnarly fuzz thing going. It still has all that sustain. It still just sort of, you play slightly differently. When you really get into fuzz, you hold on to notes differently than you do with an overdrive because it feels different. And this video wasn't really about just saying to someone, oh, well, actually you can play your fuzz really quietly, because, you know, everyone's tastes are different. But I just wanted to find out for myself. And if you've been toying around with the idea of getting a fuzz, even though let's say you just play in an apartment or whatever, maybe this video will help you out. So let's hear that for a minute. a jam ray with that as well. I just wanted to do something I often do in low volume videos. Let's just hear a short clip as it's recorded with the mics I use. That's 4 mics, an SM57 straight on the cab, a ribbon mic a foot away, and a couple of room mics. Let me turn those off and just use the shotgun mic that's on the camera, because that may be more reflective of, you know, what's in the room. You know what I mean, basically. Yes, I love the recordings I get with all these mics, but in this case, they do accentuate the low end a fair bit compared to what I heard in the room. And I think the shotgun mic can sound quite a lot like what you hear just sort of in the room. Okay, let's hear the same effects but with the jam ray instead of the haze. So to be honest with you, I'm not sure that every rig, you know, every guitar amp and pedal combo can really do this at this low of a volume without sounding buzzy. There is something about a 2x12, a plexi, humbuckers, that is giving enough like sort of big sound, even at a low volume, that it sounds, to me, it sounds epic recorded like this. And I just thought the jam ray has like, I don't know, just a great tone. I love it. It was lovely to play, but it doesn't have quite the dynamics of a fuzz. You know, if you want to play around with your volume, or if you want to change your picking dynamics, the Haze 67 does that really, really well. Just for fun, let's turn the jam ray and the Haze 67 on together. Again, like, you know, you hear people talking about pedal platform amps and being able to put different gain stages together. And if you put, you know, with a sort of pretty compressed, very low volume coming out of a plexi style amp with a master volume on it, you know, you'd think if you listen to everyone that you just wouldn't be able to put all this together and not get a horrible mush. Maybe to some of you it is a horrible mush. But if you like Hendrix, or if you like, you know, other people who play around with this sort of stuff, to me this sounds great. I love it. It's quite addictive. I want to sit here and play that a lot. And at these volumes, that's amazing, because I normally envelop myself in a massive amount of volume. So yeah, that's the answer to that one for me is, yeah, at 90, 100, 105 decibels, it may be even more enjoyable. But if you can't use that volume, it doesn't mean you can't play around with fuzz. It's still up to you, obviously. And I'm not trying to just sort of like put a mic drop on someone. Someone commented that today on Instagram, but I've probably had that several dozen times, you know, over the years. People just say, well, it sounds all right on your video, but I can never get it to sound good because I'm at low volume or something. But what if you're interested, I could put another short video together later this week or next week where I do exactly the same thing, but with a clean Fender amp. You know, I can set it on like 1.5. Does it even make noise on 1.5? But I guess that's a lot of people with a Fender style amp might be on that sort of volume. So yeah, let me know if you're interested in that. Again, this was just a quick thing. I just wanted to see what it was like, and I'm blown away actually at how good it does sound. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that.